whenever you are going to prepare a sequence diagram, again there will be three different people, right? Three different. One, customer. Two, an ATM system. He is connecting to a server and he performed the action, right? So this is what generally the process will be followed. Now to prepare a sequence diagram, we have an option here under the toolbox, inside the toolbox called lifeline, isn't it, right? Hence we have to create three different lifelines. We have to create three lifelines. The first lifeline will be called as customer. First lifeline will be customer. Second lifeline will be ATM system, ATM machine, right? ATM system. Third lifeline is bank server, right? So three different lifelines we have. One is customer, second is ATM system, third is a bank server, right? So three different things are there. Now assume that you have already have a login user ID password with you, right? Assume that you have already in user ID password, means PIN number and all, everything is with you now. Now being a customer, you are going to a ATM system to withdraw money, right? So what process do we follow? This sequence diagram we are following. So here you can see an option called message. I hope you can see a message, an option called message. So this option you need to select, where you have to draw a line from here to here, customer to ATM system. What he do? First insert card, right? So we are inserting the card. Whenever we inserted the card, usually this card will be under verification and validation, right? So verification and validation process happens. Now again, this information means whatever the card access, whatever through barcode reader and all that, so this system will be accessed to the server and it performs verification and validation. I'm just mentioning in a shorter format. VV stands for verification and validation. Okay, VV, 1 minute. Right, so we call it as verification and validation, right? So once verified and validated, what bank server do? Bank server will ask us to give PIN number, isn't it? Now here you have an option called reply message, right? Bank server is giving a reply message to the bank server and it asking you to enter PIN, asking you to enter PIN. So right, so enter PIN. So what customer is doing now? Customer is giving PIN entering, right? Message again, message you are giving as PIN entered, right? So message was given as PIN entered. Again, whenever we have given a PIN entered message, it will be again verified and validated, right? So verification and validation process goes as usual, because the card must be a valid card first of all, because that should not have any expiry date and all that, right? So that is one thing we have to see. Next, whatever the PIN number we have given must be verified and validated. There is an if else condition everywhere, right? So that is where, so for that usually there will be a different thing, right? If it is verified, usually if it is verified and successful, obviously we get so normally See, the dotted line means, see, this dotted line nothing but reply message. Continuous line is a message you are giving because you are a customer, you are inserting the card, right? So whenever you insert a card, normally you get a reply from the server, right? From other end, you are getting a reply. That reply will be called as reply message. This reply message you can see in dotted. That's only the difference, right? It is giving on the dotted lines on that reply message. Reply message. If you are getting a reply from the other end, that's called as reply, right or not? So pin entered, we have entered, being a customer, we have entered the pin. Now verification validation happens on the bank server. Normally this is where when developer write program, they will write two different logics. Logics will be there, right? So they write when program and all, there will be two logics. And assumptions, logics, everything will be taken into account. What is that logic? If pin number is right, we process, right? Next continuation process will be continued. Here I'm talking about whenever pin entered, I'm talking about, right? Whenever we have entered the pin, here developer will write a logic. So what that logic is, pin entered is right. If S, next level process will be continued. So that next level, whether he is withdrawing money or deposit money, whatever the transaction will be continued further. Else, what is else means? For example, if it is pin number was entered, what is the message it should show? Normally it will show you as incorrect pin, right? But here there will be an exemption again. There will be an exemption. So see why programmer is so important, or why programmer writing code and all everything is so important, because of these logics. It's not only about the process is required. So there is nothing to say anything of this sort, right? So process is required. So there will be two things. One is if pin number is right, accepted, go ahead. If pin number is wrong, what is the message? It should appear on the screen. It will show you as pin number entered wrongly. Now here is an exemption. Every bank, why? Because I mentioned earlier also, because the same sequence diagram or sequential process will be same for everyone, right? So why are we preparing sequence diagram, and how different it is from one customer to another customer? Even though they are belongs from the banking industry, how it is different, right? So this is what the question might be arise for anyone. So this is where the difference. Some people will tell you, if pin number is wrong for first time, next continuous two chances will be given, right? Continuous two chances will be given. Within the two chances, if it is if they have given the right password, so the right user right password, ATM pin number, it will be succeeded. Otherwise the card will be blocked for either for 24 hours or 48 hours or for some time. So these are the exemptions which customer will tell you, right? So this is what generally the comes under non-functionalities of the project. Understood, right? So there will be non-functionality. How should it behave, right? How should it perform? These we call it as non-functional requirements. Means functionality is this. What is non-functionality? How should it behave? How many times it should accept? Whenever you have given a pin number, it is accepting you only 3 consecutive times. After 3 times, it will be blocked either for 24 hours or for 48 hours, or either you have to go for a home branch and get it released. So it is completely different from bank to bank, right? It will not be the same procedure, you never follow everywhere, right? So there is a difference. That's the reason why these are the differences will be there. That's the reason why the sequential process is more important. At the same time, writing code and all everything is something essentially important, right? So verification and validation. Assume that the pin number was right? Now you get a reply message from the bank server. Select options, right? Because you'll see the options there, right? You'll be displayed some options on the screen. So on that options, we have to select an option, right? Now we have selected, means as a customer, we have selected an option called cash withdrawal. cash withdrawal, right? So we have selected an option called cash withdrawal. So we can do like this, means if you want to have more these things and all, we can have an option. Either you can, you have an option where you can extend the line here, right? You have an option, right? You can extend the line, or else you can edit this way. But you can see one after another stepwise procedure. You can see first step is inserting card, second step is verification validation, third step is enter asking for the PIN number, fourth step is PIN entered, fifth step is verification validation, sixth is selecting options, seventh cash withdrawal selected. Now whenever we have selected an option called cash withdrawal, usually, because here again you don't see any verification and all, right? Again you don't see any verification, hence I am not giving any line from ATM to bank server. Okay, listen carefully. Now it is giving a reply as enter money you want to withdraw, right? It is asking you. So now what a customer is doing, customer is entered, right? Entered, right? How much he wants to withdraw, that money was mentioned. Now here is again, here verification and validation will be taken place. What is this verification and validation? As last time I have told you some time back, there is a process, like for example, whatever the money you have entered, see this process is not applicable for deposit, because depositing money you can do it, not a problem. But again there is a condition. Cash deposits can be, ATM deposits can be done only to the certain limit, right? You cannot withdraw more than the limit. This is the condition for cash deposit. For cash withdraw, whatever the money was entered, again there is a verification and validation process happens. Verification and validation process happens. Why a verification and validation process is required? Because, for example, assume that whatever the money we have entered is greater than the amount which is there in your account. It will show you as insufficient funds. You will get a message. If it is lesser than the one which is there in the account, obviously you can get it. But again, there will be other condition that some banks will put some limit, right? Some minimum limit. Below than the minimum limit, if you want to transact, it won't accept. Some banks, right, will put a condition. Some banks, right, they'll put charges on it, right? So that is absolutely of their choices, right? So that is, this is where most of the changes will happen. The reason why this detailed explanation and all everything required sometimes. So money entered, verified, validated. So money was there, whatever the money he has entered and all everything is there in the account. Now you get a reply, or you get cash withdraw, right? So you get withdraw of money, right? Money withdraw, right? So you get money from the ATM machine. After that, it will ask you, do you want to perform any other transaction or something of that sort? If you said no, obviously customer can have an option to log out. Okay, so this is a sequential process which prepared for cash withdrawal, right? So this can be explained orally, not a problem. But as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of people are involved. There must be a proper understanding among the one what we are working on, and everything is required. Hence, what is needed here? It is obviously helpful, and at the same time, it is important for us to prepare sequence diagram here, right? So sequence diagram explains you about the sequential process of withdrawing money, all that, right? So after that, this diagrams and all everything can be saved for further references. or else they can export this diagram as JPEG files, right? Whatever the way you want, right? So they can cash withdraw. So we are saving it as cash withdraw, right? So that also can be done, right? So this diagram, usually what happen whenever we prepare these diagrams and all, usually these diagrams will be incorporated in the Word document. Whenever we prepare business requirements, whenever we prepare those software requirement specifications, all that. So whatever the diagrams we prepare will be incorporated in that. Will be incorporated there, because wherever it is required, so we'll incorporate. It will not be incorporated everywhere. So wherever it is needed and all that, that incorporation and all everything will be taken place. So this is how generally the sequence diagrams will be prepared. At the same time, we have a provision even to change these sequence diagrams and all everything from time to time. It will not be the same every time, because if you want to make any kind of changes or if you want to add something out of it, there is an option where we can add. That's the reason why these diagrams are dynamic in nature, and these diagrams has a provision where you can do as many changes as you want. Whereas in sequence diagram, use case diagram and all that, you don't have that option. But whereas for sequence diagram, yes, we have an option where we can do it. Is it clear to everyone? This is how generally visualization of requirements of processes, whatever we have and all everything, should be prepared by us, usually in uh, when we are understanding, or when you're translating, or when you're documenting requirements and all that, understanding, designing, all that. So this is how generally the UML diagrams have to be prepared by us. So these diagrams can be incorporated anywhere we want, so that based on this diagram process and all that, developer or technical team, implementation team will understand. So based on that, whatever the logic they follow, right? So I have told you logics, like one is verification. Here there are three logics are there, three verification processes. One verification process for either card is valid or not, second verification process pin valid or not, third verification process sufficient money was there or not. If it is sufficient money, we get the money, otherwise we'll get a message. Again, extension to that is how many times it has to be accepted. Normally this is varying from bank to bank. Some people will give you an option of 3 consecutive times you can use it, otherwise it will be blocked for some time or something. So blah blah blah, right? So this is how it is. So this is what generally the sequence diagram. So when you want to visualize the requirements, this is how, being a business analyst, you have to visualize. Is it clear, everyone? Right. So this is how generally the visualization process will be taken place. So